This segment of the Alice Stewart Show is brought to you by Aero Plumbing. For all your household or business plumbing needs, call Aero Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER or schedule an appointment online at aeroplumbing.net.
And we are back on the Alice Stewart Show, 7:35, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. Joined in studio with State Representative David Hillman from Elmira around the Stuttgart area. And we're talking about one of the big issues that was on the ballot this year, and it is issue 3, and it's overall entitled the Arkansas Ethics Amendment. But there are a lot of different factors that go into this. How is this affecting the day-to-day operations of legislators?
Well, as you know, Alice, there were 3 different issues in issue 3. First of all was the Citizens Commission to establish the pay for certain elected officials, and then there was the one that the legislators are all talking about is the lobbying restrictions that we have, and then the term limits. And no one that I talked to prior to the election thought that this thing was going to pass. That's what everybody said, and I think we kind of had our head in the sand and everything. But it's going to have some implications, and I think by the time we get through this legislative session, we'll have some enabling legislation for it, and we'll know where we stand. But we really don't know. We're just kind of shooting in the dark right now, and there's a lot of what-ifs going on. Like, for example, if I go to an annual meeting for, let's say our Chamber of Commerce in Stuttgart, I go to their meeting and they have a meal. What am I supposed to do as a person? And quite frankly, I don't see it affecting the common legislator very much. That there will be no intentional attempt to disobey the law by anyone.
Right.
It's the unintentional things that we're concerned about right now.
Well, and you've said yourself, I mean, the big question a lot of folks have had is that lobbyists paying for meals, even as much as coffee there at the cafeteria there at the Capitol. But for some folks, it doesn't really impact or affect the way you do business. That's not something that you sought out. But there's going to be a lot of folks looking at how, especially lobbyists, in terms of how they go about lobbying our members of the House and Senate.
A phrase that I would use on that is, we've never done it that way before.
Right. Right.
And so lobbyists are going to have to learn different ways to make contact and build a relationship with the legislators, but they can adapt.
And I think that's the key, and it just goes back to them getting out there and doing their work in terms of communicating the message and pushing their item or their agenda with you without whining and dining.
Well, and whining and dining.
That's a thing of the past now.
That was an easy way to build relationships,
right?
And I have never gone out with a lobbyist and them hit on me or try to push their point to me, while we're out entertaining and things like that. But that does give them access to a legislator. When they do have an issue they want, you're going to listen to them and talk to them, and I can understand why it was done the way it was done.
Right, and part of that also included the term limits language. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I have never been for term limits. I think that term limits are 2 years for legislators and 4 years for the governor and the Senate. And if you don't like the person representing you, then vote them out. And so I have, when it first came out several years ago, I said it's going to take power away from the legislature and give it to the bureaucrats. And I think it's, I am in favor of the term limits that were in issue number 3.
And there's also a component in that, the transparency, which is certainly about how lobbyists do their work, and financial reform amendment. Overall, do you think there's so many components of issue 3? In the end, do you think it will be a good thing for legislators and the people of Arkansas?
I think eventually it's going to be business as usual.
Right.
We're going to comply with the law in the best that we know, but in 5 or 6 years, you're still going to see the lobbyists that are going to be over there every day, that are going to have the legislators' respect, and their legislators are still going to go to them to find out where they stand on the issues. And that's important.
Lobbyists, they get a bad rap, but they have a very, very important role at the state capitol in Washington, D.C., and they do tremendous work and very helpful to elected officials.
Well, one of the when we were doing our orientation when I first got elected, we kind of had a little thing on lobbyists, and they asked me in one word, how can you describe lobbyists? And I said, staff.
That's true. That's
because,
true. Yeah.
We as legislators do not have a staff to research issues and things like that. So when I want to know something, I go to a lobbyist and I say, tell me about this. What's this going to do? What's this not going to do? And then I go to the lobbyist on the other side,
right,
and find out the same thing from them.
And then
I
you
make my decision.
And then you do what you do best, is you use your common sense and you make the best decision. That's right. Well, we appreciate you joining us this morning. It's great to talk about Cuba and certainly this very important issue 3. So we appreciate you coming in. State Representative David Hillman from Elmira. Thanks, and have a great session.
Thank you.
All right. We will take a break. When we come back, State Senator Jason Rapert on the new incoming session and pro-life legislation. We'll be back on the Alice Stewart Show. This segment of the Alice Stewart Show brought to you by Arrow Plumbing. For all of your household or business plumbing needs, call Arrow Plumbing at 1-866-PLUMBER, or you can schedule an appointment online at arrowplumbing.net.